Hi, I'm Karen Sadvari. I'm the associate pastor here at Community Church at Ocean Pines, and I've been reading a book called Messy Spirituality. It's by Mike Yaconelli, and it's a book that I have read a number of times. And there's one particular section that always brings me back. And he talks about the way that Jesus did some big things, but that most of the things that Jesus did were small. They didn't impact the life of thousands. They didn't impact the community as a whole. But for the person to whom Jesus was ministering, they meant a lot. And so Reverend Yaconelli writes that Jesus' tiny acts changed the world forever, and that tiny becomes huge when Jesus is involved. He goes on, it's easy for us to get the impression that God is about big, spectacular, and miraculous. After reading a few books, watching television, and listening to the stories at church, it's very easy to conclude that unless God is doing really big things throughout our lives, we're not spiritual. Spiritual people, though, are about tiny things, which is the fruit of their spirituality. The spiritual life is not a life of success. It's a life of faithfulness, and it's not easy. God does big things once in a while, and I hope that you've had God do some big things for you from time to time. But there's no question that the primary work of God in the world is salt and light tiny. God knew we would naturally be dazzled by big. That's why Jesus told the parables of the lost sheep, the lost coin, the lost son, the mustard seed. Jesus was trying to tell us something. The spiritual life is a tiny life, filled with little decisions, tiny steps toward God, and tiny glimpses of his presence. And so hopefully we can take a lesson from that. And we can be happy to do little things for God. A little kindness, standing up for someone who needs to be defended. A word when someone feels lost, a helping hand, a guiding direction. And so may we, in our spiritual life, not look for big and glorious and spectacular, but move in the way that God usually does, in little things, little actions, and little acts of love. Amen.